What's going on, everybody? My name is Derailious. Welcome back to another video. This is going to be part 2 of my full Dwarven Mines guide showing you how to not only get into the mines but also participate in all the major events and how everything generally functions. Before we get into this, I do want to say thank you guys so much for all the support on the last video. As well, you can check out my Fairy Soul guide. That will be linked down below. And yeah, if you do enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe down below. It does mean a ton. Let's push to 12,000 subscribers. I know we can do it. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into this. Strangely enough, we are going to begin this video about the Dwarven Mines at the Deep Caverns. In order to get to the Dwarven Mines for the first time, you have to first speak to Reese, who is a guy standing in the Obsidian Sanctuary. Upon speaking to him, he will tell you to gather 10 enchanted diamond, redstone, coal, iron, etc. You only have to bring 3 types of materials to him, and then he will give you a Heart of the Mountain. Once that is done, he will take you to the Dwarven Mines. Upon entering the Dwarven Mines for the first time, you might be overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the island, and that's okay. This is probably the largest island that we have received, definitely twice as large, I think, as the End Island, and certainly has a lot more content packed into it. Talking to Reese, though, in the front, you can get some basic information. Notably, that mithril spawns on the island, all of the veins are mineable, the center of mithril veins are more pure and thus drop more, and mining mithril is the main source of getting mithril powder, although that's not necessarily true. However, it is all useful in the Heart of the Mountain. Commissions I will go into in a minute. The Heart of the Mountain can be leveled up by doing these commissions, and you can spend tokens of the mountain received upon leveling up your Heart of the Mountain to unlock perks and pickaxe abilities. As well, these perks can be upgraded using powder, and some are one-time only unlocks, and if you are not happy, you are able to reset it for a cost. If you go into your Skyblock menu and you go above where your skills are, you can access the Heart of the Mountain. This is a relatively simple level up system, kind of reminds me of Destiny Artifact leveling up. Basically, as you go up the tiers, you are able to get more tokens of the mountain, as you can see, which allow you to continue to spec into more and more things. It's a generally pretty simple system. As you keep leveling up, the cost in terms of mithril powder keeps going up, and to reset it, it costs 100,000 coins. Going back to Reese, you can see that the forge and mining are also here, and he also points you in the direction of a man named Boo Boo to get your first mithril pickaxe. I do actually recommend you do that. In order to get to him, simply walk over to the right side, and there are 2 NPCs here. Boo Boo offers some fractured, bandaged, titanium, and refined titanium pickaxes. As well, I recommend you get the fractured one at first because it has a breaking power of 5, which is required in order to break titanium. Breaking power of 6 is not necessarily needed for anything yet, although eventually it likely will be. Biofuel is used in drills, and I also have a different variant drill fuel in my inventory, but I'll go over that a little later on. Speaking to Bolvar, you can see that he has tier 12 minions for sale. Basically, you bring a tier 11 minion, a large amount of the enchanted variant of the highest level block that you can craft with that type of material, and 2 million coins, and you'll get a tier 12 minion. I don't necessarily think that this is super worth it, however, to each their own. Heading outside a little bit more, we can see that there is a banker over there, a blacksmith right next to him, and to our right there is an events guide. Events I will get into more in a moment, but basically how it works is that there is a mining event in the Dwarven Mines every 20 minutes, and it is the same time on all servers. Active events require all players to group together, while passive ones offer optional bonuses. You can also find random events happening around the island at any time. For instance, the current event is Double Powder, which is pretty self-explanatory. It is a passive event, and it ends in 12 minutes, because it started about, I think, 3 to 5 minutes ago. I don't know if it's a 15-minute or 20-minute timer. Also, there's a bit of a tavern here, although these guys are mostly useless. Moving on to our next area, we will finally be able to get into commissions. In order to head over to the commissions area, you have to first find the Royal Armory, or the Royal Palace. In order to do so, head through the big golden gate and cross this very large bridge. It's actually really beautiful to see like this very nice architecture that they are using right now. Heading through the gates, you will enter the Royal Palace. Up the stairs and straight ahead, you will see that there is a big council of men here. This big council is pretty interesting, considering that all of them are kings. How it works basically is that every day, or in-game Skyblock day, a king swaps out for another. The queen stays the same though. Speaking to the king, you can see that there are commissions. Basically, these are tasks given directly by the king, which give bountiful rewards. For instance, this one is slay 2 golden goblins, which spawn rarely when mining. The rewards are 1,000 Heart of the Mountain XP, 111 Mithril Powder, and 10k Mining XP. For my other one, it's Mine 15 Titanium Ore. Once again, I get a lot of Heart of the Mountain XP, some Mithril Powder, and Mining XP. If you speak to all 7 of the kings, as they all rotate in and out, you will actually receive a Talisman. The King Talisman gives you +1 mining speed when held, and gives you +1% powder from commissions. It's actually pretty interesting. If you head over to the library and head inside, and you head into the back room, you could see that there is a puzzler here. The puzzler is relatively simple. Basically, he in chat will give you a list of directions. Face the front of the room and follow these directions. Make sure you're looking down as you do so, and mine the block that you land on when you run out of commands to do. If you do it properly, you will get 1,000 Mithril Powder, which is the equivalent of mining around 200 to 300 Mithril ore. That's what I mean when I say that mining Mithril is not necessarily the best way of getting powder. Hopping outside and heading over to the hanging court, we can now finally start heading down into the other areas. In order to do so, head down this large staircase into Aristocrat Passage, and down and out once more through this big corridor. Heading outside, you will notice first that there are now ice walkers here. This is relatively important because this is where we will be going over the armor included in the Dwarven Mines. Firstly, Glaciite armor. In order to see what Glaciite armor actually provides, you can go on the auction house and check the price. Right now, the prices aren't that much. As you can see, some pieces are selling for as little as 1,700 coins, although 20,000 to 50,000 is what I've seen most commonly. Glaciite armor has a high amount of defense, a decent amount of speed, and has a full set bonus of Expert Miner, which grants you +2 mining speed for each of your mining levels. For instance, if you are mining 60, that means you get 120 mining speed. The defense of this item is doubled while on a mining island, which makes it very important for surviving if you are not necessarily in the best gear. As well, there are goblins all over the place, and surprise surprise, there is also goblin armor. This armor provides health, negative intelligence, and some level of mining speed. As well, the full set bonus Smart Miner converts your intelligence into mining speed. It gives you +1 mining speed for every 15 intelligence removed. Overall, these two sets of armor are not necessarily the greatest for combat, but their purpose is not for combat. It is for mining. Heading through the big gateway right next to the Great Wall of Ice, you can jump down and head into the mist. I do recommend, however, that you are wearing very high tier gear. As a matter of fact, I'm going to switch to my full Necrons to do so. How this basically works is there are a bunch of ghost enemies down here. Charged creepers, which cannot explode but still have their particle effects, and they deal very heavy damage. Basically, you have to kill them and you have a small chance of receiving Sorrow, an item that is excruciatingly important for getting some of the best armor in the Dwarven Mines. I actually have some on me from farming up these fellows, and they actually spawn pretty frequently, so you'll likely be able to get your hands on it pretty quickly. Basically, if you have 3 Sorrow and put it in every single slot, you can get Sorrow helmets, chest pieces, leggings, and boots, and this armor is insane. It gives you +5 magic find per piece, 50 mining speed per piece, and 20 mining fortune per piece. As well, it has the item ability Mist Aura, which hides the wearer in a guise of mist. It is likely the best armor we are going to be seeing for magic find purposes, as well as for mining, for quite some time. I don't necessarily know if we are going to see a Mithril armor set, although if we do, I will make a video about it in the future. Heading up the staircase, we can actually see this is where the forge is. You don't actually have to head inside the forge, and I don't recommend you do, and I'm actually going to head back to showcase something else, notably the ghasts. Basically, ghasts have a small chance of spawning at any random point in the game. Basically, if you hit these ghasts, and let me open up my tab menu, if you look at the amount of mithril powder I have, you can see it start shooting up the moment I start attacking these ghasts. This is once again going to show that I recommend you not actually mine mithril if you're trying to get powder. Instead, do these public events. They are way more worth it, and honestly, I just got 2,000 mithril powder from just hitting a ghast a few times. So, that's pretty insane. As well as this, heading through this gate again and heading over to the right, we can get to the Goblin Burrows, obviously, but I don't necessarily want to go there. I actually want to talk more about the public events. Basically, there are a few active events which can happen at any given point, every 20 minutes apart. So, there are things like the Raffle event. Raffle is probably one of the most fun events. Basically, you're just sort of running around picking up tickets, dumping them in a box, and at the end, there is a small chance that you will be chosen to receive triple rewards. It's a pretty cool overall event. I wish it had a little bit more substance to it, but that's whatever. As well, there are the Starfall events, which basically have a small little piece of crystal sort of fall from the sky, and a bunch of special mobs summon nearby it. When you kill these mobs, they will drop you Starfall, shockingly enough, and it will actually be pretty beneficial in order for you to hang on to it, because it is what allows you to craft beacons. As well as those events, there is a Goblin Raid event. This one is also pretty simple. Basically, a bunch of goblins and super protectrons, which, well, protect the goblins, spawn in. You basically have to kill them all, and killing more of them gives you a higher amount of loot. As well as this, there are some other minor events, things like the double XP and the double powder that I was talking about before. Aside from these major events though, I do recommend you try to participate in as many things as possible because it is how you level up your Heart of the Mountain. As well, getting a large amount of powder is necessary in order to increase the levels of the things in the Heart of the Mountain. For instance, I have plus 28 mining fortune and 340 mining speed at this point. This update is really substantial in a lot of ways, and I'm excited more for the future and where they progress with this. It's going to be way easier to add more public events and more things to do on this large island, because right now, like a Destiny world, it kind of feels empty and not much to do. However, their goal and their stated goal is that they're going to use this landscape and this large area that they've built in order to keep improving the game. Now that we've gone over basically everything there is to talk about, I will get into more special things like collections. Go into your mining collection, you go into Mithril. Some of the important items that I want to go over are the beacon as well as the Mithril crystal. The Mithril crystal is probably the most important item for people who use snow minions because it allows you to increase the speed of nearby mining minions by 10%. It has an effective radius of 40. It is really, really good. As well, there is a Mithril coat here at tier 5, which has the item ability Mithril's Protection, which makes any damage taken is max 40% of the wearer's health. Gain regeneration when this ability activates. I really like this because there are certain abilities, notably on floor 7, which are able to one-tap you. If you are wearing this coat, they cannot one-tap you, and that is pretty nice. As well, there is the Dwarven Super Compactor, which is basically a combination of the Auto Smelter and Super Compactor that allows you to use both of them in one slot on things like, for instance, a Gold or Iron Minion. There's also the Mithril Golem pet, which is probably one of the strongest pets in the game and what I'm currently using. The stats of this guy are pretty insane. He increases your true defense by 27, gives you Mithril Affinity, which gains you 55 mining speed when mining Mithril. The Smell of Powder gains you 11% more Mithril Powder, and Danger Averse increases your combat stats by 11% on mining islands. I hope we see more pets related to things on this island. I also hope we see more items. I don't think we've actually unlocked everything there is to see, and part 3 of this video will be going over some of the more minor things. One final thing I want to go over are the emissaries. Basically, if you do enough commissions, and commissions, once again, if you've forgotten, are the things that you unlock sort of as, I don't know, daily bounties, where you have to mine some titanium, slay some type of golem, or slay a certain amount of goblins. Those types of events allow you to unlock a lot more than you just think. Heading over to the king and looking at commission milestones, every time you level him up, you will get a new emissary, which allows you to access more and more quests on the island. As well, you gain a pretty sizable amount of mining experience. However, the most important parts are at tier 4 you get an extra commission slot, and at tier 5 you get a travel scroll to the Dwarven Mines, and at tier 6 you get a royal pigeon. I don't necessarily know what that is, but the travel scroll is probably really interesting to a lot of people. This island is really massive. It has a lot of special types of enemies. I recommend you check out my Fairy Soul guide if you want to see where all 11 of the Fairy Souls on this island are, and I also recommend that you just explore the island. Every once in a while, you'll find something weird like a dragon egg, which you can break to get a large amount of mithril powder. You can sometimes find secrets and, little corridors all around. This island was made for exploration, and the main purpose of it is to explore this vast landscape. It is the largest island by a mile, and it's probably one of the most interesting to explore. So I recommend that you check it out, see what it has to offer, and try to find some secrets yourself. In part 3 of this guide, I will be going more so into secrets and directly about the Forge. I don't really know too much about the Forge yet, so I want to try to learn before I actually make a video on it, because obviously I don't want to make a video and be completely wrong. On that note, I hope you enjoyed this video, and heading up this staircase and hopping out this window, you can see we are right back where we started in the village. It's kind of a really nice relief to finally have some new content to go over, some new things to do, and some new items to talk about. And I will be making videos on very specific armor sets coming soon. Likely Sara armor will be getting a video all by itself. There are tons of things to do on this island. I'm really happy and excited for the future. The Frost Giant boss that was teased sounds really, really interesting, and I'm excited to see it when it comes out. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. My name is Derailious. Please subscribe and like down below if you enjoyed the video, it means a ton, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.